Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. So today we'll be learning as to how we can create our own chat GPT. So what we are going to do here basically is three things. That is, first we'll be creating our own chat GPT or the chatbot within a local host. Later we'll be using Docker to deploy the same. And once that is done, what we'll be doing is we will be uploading it to the cloud so that everybody else can use the program that I have created. All right. So to do that, basically there are Python and a few codes that are involved. So let me take you through the codes in which we will be working on so that we can basically create the chatbot for ourselves. So as you know, for any function or program to work, there are a few things that has to be there. That is, it should have a front end, whereas that is the part where the user is interacting with the system, and then there's a backend where the information or the request that we have entered is taken by the system, processed, and it comes back. Okay, so this is the major steps that happen in any interface that is happening. So initially, the first thing that we will have to be doing here is that we will have to generate an API key for ourselves. So why this is done is because, as you know, generating a large language learning model is not an easy thing. So we'll be using a free software. All right. So as you all know, Gemini. So we will be using that for the same. So the first thing that you'll have to do is you will have to go to Google and you can ask for Gemini API key. So you can click on this. You can go to Google AI Studio, and you can go to an option where you can create one for yourself. So if you already have an API key, that's all right, you can use it. Otherwise, yeah, I had a few, but let's generate one so that you know how this can be generated. Okay, so I'm going to create an API key for myself. So you can name this as my first project, and I'm going to create an API key for myself, and then you can later copy it from here. So basically, why we need this API key is because even when I tell you that we are creating a chat GPT for yourself, we are going to use an existing model so that you can get the responses from them. And we will be using our specific front end so that you can use the interface that you want to get the response and use the response that you need. So this API key helps you connect the application that you're creating to ChatGPT to get the response. Okay, so this is your API key. You copy it, and like I told you, there's a front end and the back end. So this is the back end, and then we'll have the front end. That is, we'll have the three sections over here, that is style, index, and chat, which I'll be explaining to you forward. But let's go to the back end first, where the actual thing happens. All right. So now we have copied the API key and we have discussed what we are doing here. So that API key has to come to this section of the code. Okay, so this is my API key. All right, so if you're looking into the code right now, you can say that we are importing a few things. The first one is Flask, which is used to create the web service, and then we are importing render template. Okay, so what this does is it helps us to load various types of HTML pages to the code that we are running. That is, basically it is importing various interfaces for our performance. And next one is the request, where it handles the data that is being sent by the user. And then we have something called as session, okay, which stores the chat in the history for each user. And then there's a redirect URL. Okay, so it redirects between different user, it redirects the user between different pages of the program that we are having. And then we have URL 4. Okay, that also is the URLs for the different pages in which it is going to be navigated. And then we have JSON fee, which is the specific format that is required. That is, whenever the data is being sent, there is something called as key and value. So it will take what is the value of it and in which key it has to be taken. So it has to be taken from here and it has to be sent. So that is what we are doing. So now coming to the code, here this is the first part where we are configuring the API from Gemini. Okay, so here we have replaced it with the actual Gemini key. Okay, and this is the part where we are using the storage. Okay, that is, we know that whenever we are doing the chat, that chat has to be stored, right? Because we are doing a model here where we can ask the question, the model remembers a question, and then it gives us an answer based on that. Also, if you want to start a new chat and later if you want to go to your previous chat, so you would need that data or memory that is used somewhere, right? So that is where, so this is the part where the memory allocation for the chat will be stored. And next is the part where we are going to allocate it multiple times. Okay, that is, if we are having multiple chat sessions, that can be stored within this part of the code. All right, and next one is the part where we are going to assign a timestamp for the chat. Okay, so if you're looking into ChatGPT, basically you will know that if you're looking into the history bar, it has a certain ID associated to it, and it has a certain time that is being associated to it. So here as well, so for your chat, a unique ID will be created, and its timestamp, that is what is the date and what is the time in which it was created, so that also will be stored. So that is why we are going to basically use it. All right, and next one is the part, so here you can see that this is a section where the user clicks on new chat and the unique ID will be created. Okay, so now once you're clicking on new chat, you know that the interface again changes, right? That is, once you click on new chat, you are going to come to a part where you are going to actually ask a question, and then you need to get a response back from the user, from the system basically, or the model that you're using. So this is where the actual chat part of the session happens for you. All right, so here again you have to check if the chat is valid or not, right? Because sometimes you might be typing on something, okay, and then you might not get a response exactly as how you need it. Okay, so in that time you might have to go back to the previous chat, and so for all these things this chat ID will be useful for you. So if it is available, it is going to give you chat, or else it is going to redirect you to a new chat. So that is what this part of the thing is doing for you. All right, now this is the part of the chat where we are going to ensure that the data that is entered by the user is going to be converted to the JSON format so that it can be sent. So now your response will be taken by the model and Gemini 2.0 Flash, so that is the one that we are using, and the response will be stored back in the bot, and then that bot is going to give you the response as to what the response actually was. So here we have actually added a condition okay, where you mention let's say there was a network error, or it was not able to fetch the right answer. So in that case, it can, you usually have predefined responses that is there, right? So in the similar way you will be getting it here also. So here it is going to come in such a way where it says that sorry, I could not generate a response. Okay, so now again, your user input is going over here, the model is giving it to Gemini and getting the answer, the response is being stored, and in case if there is any issue, the bot is going to answer this. And after this, what we are going to do is this specific chat that we have done has to be stored within a session. So that session, that thing is going to be stored back over here. Okay, so that is the part that we are going to do over here, and this is the format in which it has to be stored, so that is going to come over here. All right, so this is all about the basic APPY, or the code part of the session that is going to happen over here. All right, so reiterating on what we have discussed so far, that is, initially we import all the necessary directories that is required, you connect it with the Gemini app, you allocate the space, then you're allocating the space for multiple chats. Okay, then you are connecting this part to the chat part, that is, you know, first you have the index, which is the first part, and then you have the chat where the actual chat happens. So index is over here, and then you define a route for the chat. Okay, and no, first you give the index, then you give it for the chat, and then you assign a specific unique ID and a timestamp for it, and then you ensure that it is in the JSON format. Then the input goes to Gemini, you get the response, it comes back to the bot, and then it gives you the output. And if there is any error, it gives you this message, and then the message that you typed is going to be stored in the session over here. So this is what we'll be doing over here. So this is the complete backend process of the Python coding that we have already done, which you can do or which you can use so that we can do the required process. And the next what we'll be doing is we will be going to the front end part. So for the front end part, I'll be explaining it to you with a little screenshots of the already existing chatbot that I've created. So I've named it as Deutschbot, which simply means as German bot. So that is what I have done over here. So let us see how that can be done. So we have three back front end files for that. So I'll start with the index part of it. Okay, so rather than just showing you this code, I think it would be easier to just open the screenshot. Okay, so yeah, let me just show you. All right, so if you look in over here, I've named it as DoiGPT. Okay, then what is this is the main directory that we're importing. Then we're saying that this is in English, and then there's a metadata which is being shown. Okay, and the metadata heading is DoiGPT. All right, so this is what will be shown over here. Okay, or else let's say that part will be with the local host, so I'll show you that part again later. And then you can see the next part of the chat where you see welcome to this thing. So we have two options here where you can either click on a new chat or you can select an existing one. So I will show you how the existing ones will come. So this is the basic interface that we have for the index or the initial part of the page that we will be showing. Okay, so after this, so we have all basic things over here, and we will be importing another file here which is called as style.css. So what happens in style.css basically is that this is where we have defined how our entire interface has to look like. Let's say, you know, a few things like the sidebar move to the left. Okay, then what is the color that we are using, and then is there a darker color that we are using for the sidebar button. Okay, so all these things and the chat container, what it will be, we will come to that part, but these are the things that will be explained in this part of the style. So that is what we are connecting to the index as well. Okay, so again within index itself we are going to connect it to the chat section because you need to get the chat, right? So I hope the index part is clear. So this will be connected to this particular screenshot that you will be having, and this is the first one that you will be doing. And the next part of it is where you go to the chat. So this part can be basically explained to you with another screenshot. All right, so this what you are seeing over here is a new part of the section. That is, I have clicked on new chat. So when I clicked on new chat, a unique ID is being created for it. All right, and along with the unique ID, a new interface has opened up over here where you send in this particular message and you are expected to get your response within this part. Okay, so this is the part of the code where you give the, you know, what is the size and what is the file name that has to be used, that is used over here. And once the user is clicking on new chat, again the title for that and all those things will be explained over there. And this is the specific part for the container, that is this part of the file which is being used will be mentioned over here for you. Okay, and next is the part where now you need an answer Now, as you know how ChatGPT works again, so I'll explain this part of the code with a new screenshot for you. Okay, so here what we are doing is, so this is a basic chat that I've already loaded and taken a screenshot for your reference. So what basically happens here is that you know that I can type on hi and I get a response back saying, hi there, how can I help you? So now even this part of the front end is coded where when I am typing my message, it has to come on the right side in teal color. And when I get a response back, the response has to be coming on the left side of the chat so that it is quite similar. And if I load multiple chats, I need to have those IDs, which has to be already coming over here. All right, so this is the part of the chat which is being explained for you over here. All right, so this is these three files are the front end. app.py will give you the backend for you. So now the next one is to make sure that this, so all I've been showing you screenshots so far, so let us make sure that we are using it in a local host and we see that we are getting the responses. All right, so for this we go to terminal. Okay, and then you have to open the file because you will need the finder for it. All right, so here let's say copy directory, and I'm going to paste the file over here. Get that? Okay, so it is got into final copy. Now so you get the local host over here. So I copy this and I'll open my browser. Once I open my browser, I'm just going to paste it over here. Click on this and you have come to welcome to my Deutsch GPT. So let us start a new chat and let us ask, let's say, hi, how are you? So you're getting a response saying, I'm doing well, thank you for asking. How are you today? I'm fine. Thank you. So what can I help you with today? So let's say I want a high protein diet for 30 days to reduce calorie intake. And this is just a random prompt, so let's see what's the answer that you're getting. All right, so you're getting the response now. So as you can see, the entire response has come over here. Let's say like, okay, I can help you create a framework for a 30-day protein plan. And so you have the entire response over here. So this is one chat, and let me click on a new chat. And when I click on a new chat, let's say simple things like 2 + 2. So it will give me a response. So what is the capital of France? So this capital of France is Paris. So now I want to go to the previous chat. So if you can click over here, so you know that the previous chats were stored. All right, so if you go here, I can see that yes, this was my previous chat, and I'll be able to find the previous chat. And if I go to the new chat, I'll be able to get the new chat. So this is how basically you will be getting your local host deployment of your personal chatbot. So this is how you can train the backend and the front end to make sure that you can also make a chatbot for yourself with the tools that are already available. Okay, so this is the first part of it. Now there are 2 more steps left where we will have to deploy it using Docker. And once the deployment is done, we'll have to upload it to the cloud. So anybody watching this can also try using my chatbot. Okay. All right, so as we have discussed, we have finished the first part where we have created the chatbot on the local host. So this is the part where we'll be deploying it on Docker. So for that, initially you're supposed to log in, Docker, login, you and my name. Then I give my password. So it tells that my login has been successful. So now I'm going to change the directory to my specific file. And as you remember, we need the file name for that. So I'll be copying this and posting it over here. Okay, so now we can see that we have come inside the specific directory. So the directory has been changed. So next is a step where we are going to build an image. So for building the image, we are going to the part where docker build t, and then you have to give a name to the image. So I'm going to name it as just GPT. So you can see the process here where the image has been built, and right above here you can see that the image was created just a second ago. So next would be the step where you are going to containerize the image that you have just built. So for that you'll have to specify the port as well. So for that you'll be going to docker d directory and port 700. So that's the port that I'll be using, and double name would be, name of the container would be GPT underscore container, and again name of this thing. Okay, and so you can see that the necessary containerization has also been done. Just give me a second. Or let's just run the command again. Run p GPT container. Yes. So this is where you can see that the container has been built just 4 seconds ago. So next we can see that the new container is done. So next what we are going to do is that we are going to tag the image. So for this we are going to docker tag name of your thing, name of my account, and it has to be tagged again in GPT latest. Docker tag again name, that is GPT, and then you give your username / again t latest. All right, so once that is done, now we'll be pushing it finally. So for pushing you'll be giving the same command, that is docker push name GPT, what is your name, latest. So yeah, so here you can see that the pushing part is happening, and now to check if it's working or not, you open Gemini, and then you go to docker.com/r/your username / the name of what you give. Okay, just give me a second, let me check what's wrong. So yeah, the mistake that we had done was that the ID we had entered was wrong. So let's go to hub.docker.com/r/my name /GPT. So once you do this, you can see here that the thing that we had tagged and pushed was updated 3 minutes back, just like how we have completed all the process on Docker. So this is the process where we will be, doing the deployment on Docker. So the next step would be to process or make sure that it is up in the cloud so that anyone would be able to use the program that we have just created. So for that, let's see what we have to do. So we are coming to the last part of the video where we are going to now render it. That is making sure that we are going to upload it to the cloud so that everybody watching this can use that. Okay, so first of all, we go to render, and then we go to the dashboard. All right, once you're here at the dashboard, you click on new, and then we click on a web service, and then we are going to give an existing image. So this URL that you have, I'll be getting it from the deployment, right? So you remember that one, we have already deployed the image and uploaded it on Docker. So we'll have to copy that and paste it over here. Then we click on connect. All right. And then you make sure that you're selecting a free option here. Oops. Okay. Yeah. And also make sure that you are selecting the right region. And then you just deploy the service. Okay, so this will take a little time, but yeah, I think we're all good to go. So let's just wait for the deployment to get done. So as we speak, the deployment is happening as of now. This might take a little while. So as you can see that it is still in progress. So let's just wait. So as you can see here, it is mentioned that the deployment has been live. So this is the link that I have. So I just click on this. So as you have seen, you have come back to the Deutsch GPT that we have just created. And again, I click on a new chat and say, hey, what is the best way to make friends? And let's just wait for some time so that you get a response. So yeah, you get the response and the unique ID is created over here. So this is how we have learned to create ChatGPT, or let's say Deutsch GPT locally, deploy it on Docker and make sure that it is live on render. So this is the entire process that we have followed. Thank you so much for spending your time and watching this video. So all of you have a good time. Thank you.